It is a period of Star Wars mania, as new movies, comic books, novels, and TV shows populate the system. Fueled by their love and passion for the galaxy far, far away, two exceptional geeks tap into hundreds of holocrons in order to bring you the knowledge and insight of all things Star Wars. Come and join them as they go inside the Force.
Welcome, everybody, to Inside the Force. Once again, we are a podcast talking about the galaxy far, far away. Star Wars, that is. I'm David Cottahan with Casey Cooley.
Good day, everyone.
Yes. Great day.
Great day, everyone.
And the start of a new month.
Yes, indeed.
And start of what we're doing now is a kind of a themed month. Mm-hmm. We're doing June as Rebel Alliance month. Kind of in honor of the announcement of the Star Wars TV show.
Right.
Star Wars Rebels coming next fall.
Mm-hmm.
So we are doing Rebel Alliance month, meaning that for the next 4 shows, so 11, 12, 13, and 14, we are going to hit on the main components of the Rebel Alliance, and then ultimately the Rebel Alliance. And what we mean by that is basically there were 3 people that signed what was known as the Corellian Trilogy, Corellian Treaty, which we mentioned that before, I think, when we talked about Corellia. Mm-hmm. Is that when we talked about it? I think it was. Probably. So there's 3 main signatures that created that treaty. One was Bail Organa from Alderaan. The other one was Garm Bail Bliss from Corellia. Right. And then Mon Mothma from Chandrilla. I think it was with a D, right? Yeah. So those were the 3 main people. So that's who we're going to hit on. We're going to hit on each one of those people. And then we'll finish up the last week with the overall Rebel Alliance. Everybody else that was majorly involved, what they did as far as where they got their people, their vehicles, their warships, where they, all their bases, whatever we can find. We will talk about that, the Rebel Alliance. Yeah, but first,
So hopefully this will all be stuff you'll see in the show.
Absolutely. Yes.
Unless they change some stuff. But
because what you can do is when the show comes on, you can be like, wait a minute. I think there's a podcast out there that talk to me about these guys.
I know about what's going on.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
This is crazy. So, first one we're going to actually talk about is kind of the one that's most recent, I would say, because he appeared mostly in the prequels. Right. Only in the prequels, really, because he actually died in episode 4. But we're going to hit on Bail Organa of Alderaan, Princess Leia's adopted father, if you, for some reason, didn't know that. But he, played by Jimmy Smits, obviously, in episode 2 and episode 3. And we will get right into just everything about what we know about him and what I think was canon and significant, obviously. But Bail Organa was born on Alderaan in 67 BBY. Now, his family was already high royalty. Right. He was born into royalty. His father being the Viceroy Organa and his wife. He was the Viceroy Organa, but his wife. His wife or no? Or his mother?
Bail's mother, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, so Bail's mother was Mazisia Organa. Is that right? Yeah. And then his wife. Okay, so later his wife. I got them mixed up. Yeah. So his wife was Briha Organa, is what he ended up marrying. But then he had 3 sisters. He was the only son, so he's the only heir really to the kingship or to the viceroy of it. Because they call them viceroys. It seems like they don't call them kings. So his sisters, Rogue, Selly, and Tia, were his 3 sisters. So he was obviously had a royal and glorious childhood.
Yeah.
That didn't come from poverty or anything, and rose, but he was already already born into the house of Organa, and had a very, his father was already seated in the Galactic Senate, so he was already trained to do that kind of stuff. But it wasn't until really that Finis Volarum, who ended up being Chancellor, was the one that kind of pushed him and convinced him that he would do well in the Senate. So he studied hard and worked hard and became a politician and a very big active voice in the Senate. But it's funny to know that around the time of episode 1, it says around 32 BBY, there was actually a feud with another common name that always comes up, is Antilles.
Yeah.
Right? There's a Wedge Antilles is a name that we've profiled here before. There's been a what was his name? There's been a Bail Antilles,
Bail
right?
Antilles, yeah. He's mentioned in episode 1.
Yes.
Actually.
And then in episode 4, it's Captain Antilles.
Yeah. I think it's a different Antilles.
It is. Well,
that's the same Antilles that we see in episode 3.
Correct.
That's not Bail Antilles.
No, it's a different Antilles.
Yeah.
So there's 3 Antilles right there.
That we know of, yeah.
That we know of.
Well, 4th, you can't...
And of course, there's Skip Antilles.
Skip Antilles. Okay, 5th one.
Who's the 4th one?
His wife is Antilles. Bria.
Oh, she is?
Yeah, she is Bria Antilles.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, there was like some sort of feud going on.
Oh, is that... Okay, so that's why... Oh, so he's the marriage that
supposedly ended a feud between the two families.
I didn't realize that he was the marriage. Okay, so that's what I was about to say. Was there was a feud for the house of or the house to the throne,
right.
basically what family was in charge of the throne, being and so the house of Antilles and the house of Organa, and it was the Jedi actually came in and peacefully solved it, and the way they did it was they joined in marriage. That's what you're saying. So I didn't realize that. So I guess it is Bail.
Yeah,
I guess Bail married an Antilles in order to basically bring the throne together, right? I guess
I'm sure there was some love there, though.
That's very that makes sense. So that happened around that time that episode 1 was going on. So that would just make sense. But then obviously, as you find out later, they're unable to have children somehow for some reason. So that's why they went on to adopt Leia by the end of episode 3. So there's really not, obviously in the movies, everything that goes on as far as that goes. And we'll touch on right when basically around episode 3 of the Clone Wars ends, what happens next.
Right.
Case?
Yes. Okay, that was the meaty stuff.
Yes.
That big gap, that 19-year gap between episode 3 and episode 4, where the rebellion was created and started. We saw some of it in The Force Unleashed video games, where the rebellion kind of was officially, an official organization, I guess you can say. But until that time, that was about 3-2 BBY. 2 BBY was the Corellian Treaty. So the years up before that, it was, as we said, Organa, Garmbella Bliss, and Mon Mothma were the 3 kind of the triumvirate that were trying to create this little rebellion. But that didn't even really start until 18 BBY had this event called the Gorman Massacre. And it was called the Gorman Massacre because this is the time where the Empire was, they're starting to they have control of the entire galaxy, but they're starting to kind of suppress the people. They're raising taxes. They're creating a lot of unrest in the galaxy because of their iron fist that the Emperor is ruling with. So on this planet called Gorman, or Gorma, Planet Gorman, it's Planet Gorman in the CERN sector. The people of this planet were very, they just did not like what the Empire was doing, so they were protesting the Empire. And I guess it got kind of out of hand, the protests. It got very, got big and very noticeable. So Tarkin, Wilhelm Tarkin, who's not a Grand Moff at this time, he's just an Imperial, didn't actually say what rank he held, but he was in charge.
He's probably just a governor or something.
Yeah, must be. And I'm trying to see what he was in, some big ship. It didn't say actually what type of ship. I'm imagining it's some sort of, I don't think it's that big, but he was in command of the ship. and he was being blocked by the protesters. So I guess to kind of end the matter quickly and to kind of make an example of these people, he chose to land the ship on the protesters.
Yes.
Right on top of them. Injuring some, but injuring and killing hundreds of these protesters. And so this, no doubt, terrified the planet and the galaxy. Everyone's freaked out now of what lengths the Empire will do. And this actually caused the Emperor to take notice of Tarkin even more and gave him promotion. So, good news for Tarkin. Bad news for the Gorman people. And this also sparked Bail Organa to kind of say, hey, we need to be more serious about this rebellion thing because the Empire's getting out of hand. Right. So that's where he and Mothma and Bella Bliss start organizing these kind of secret reconnaissance missions to kind of recruit some Jedi that have survived the Purge, to recruit some information and some intel. Mm-hmm. Little things here and there, very subtle. Just get enough information, get enough resources they can to actually start this, all-out rebellion against the Empire. And it, this kind of secret co-op, missions went on until 2 BBY. So it was like 17 years, basically.
Right.
They were just kind of secretly going in there and doing all this stuff. And we, then that comes to The Force Unleashed, where, literally, The Force Unleashed took place in the Corellian Treaty. We had a Starkiller, which is the codename AK Garen Malik, but Merrick, sorry, Galen Merrick, right?
Yes,
who was pretending to be friends with the rebels, Organa and his crew, so he can bring him out of hiding, so Vader can take him over, and thus he led him to a trap. But then Merrick turned to the light side and helped spark the rebellion into action, basically by his death. And they used his family crest to be the sign of the rebels. And we all know this from the video games, so that's not really anything new there. But
I feel like we touched on that.
We did. We touched on a little bit.
Corellian part,
yeah. So really, that's all. I'm trying to find some little bigger events here that we should talk about. But that is essentially it. It seems like Bail Organa during this whole time, he was the big kind of forerunner of the rebellion. He was the face guy. Like it says here that he was still a senator during this time, up until I guess he died. And he was actually, it says here, outwardly, he was one of the most loyal imperial senators and greatly respected by many. And so this is why Emperor Palpatine never attempted to kill him, I guess. And it's very interesting how he could be so loyal to the Empire and yet be the top guy in this underground rebellion.
Yeah, because it also says, too, that when in Episode 3, when they voted for basically the formation of the Empire, it was Padme that actually said to Bail, "We need to vote for this so that we don't stand out."
Right.
So it's almost as if Bail in the Senate hearings was always approving stuff for the Galactic Empire.
That's crazy.
But then he would go back and say, let's do this, let's fight them. So he never opposed it in the Senate.
Yeah.
He only opposed it away from the Senate, which was the way the rebellion kind of started. And now he did serve as Senate up until a year before Episode 4.
Oh, okay.
Because that's when Leia took over.
That's right. Yeah.
So Leia took over. I think basically 1 BBY.
Yeah.
So she was the senator basically a year before Episode 4 happened. So yeah, he served that whole time, and I guess that's the biggest part of being in the Senate at that point is everything that's going on. And and it's cool. It says too, and you realize this just by Episode 3 is that he's probably the only, besides, unless he told anybody else, he's the only one that knows. Palpatine is a Sith,
right? He's the only
one. I mean, he's the only one that knows that the Jedi's, that where Yoda is, where Obi-Wan is. No one else knows.
That's crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So, yes, he was entrusted, and he was responsible for really, really helping the Empire get out of ending the Empire, basically.
Yeah, it just because it shows you like in episode 4, like, he was sending Leia to go get Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like
Yes.
what exactly? I guess it was because he got the plans of the Death Star is what he realized.
Because there's a book, I think, isn't there, or there's a comic or something that explains that how they got the plans the first time.
Yeah.
I can't remember the book. Or it might have been I think it was in comics, actually.
I feel like they mentioned it though in the movies too.
Well, they mentioned the second time.
Yeah. Oh, the second plan. Yeah.
The second time they mentioned the Bothan spies.
Yeah.
Because I think that was in Shadows of the Empire.
Okay.
Where they get the plans for the second time. But the first time, I think, like there was somehow, because you remember they got a transmission, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't that, I don't think Leia actually stole the plans. They got, someone else stole them.
Yeah.
I think Bail found out about it and then had them sent to where Leia was. And then that's when he told him, you need to go get Obi-Wan. We got a way of doing this. So, but anyway, but there is a cool picture right here. I think what you're talking about of Leia hugging Bail before she leaves.
That's crazy.
And that's like the last time, not knowing that their planet's going to get destroyed.
But yeah, I mean, it's Organa really. Yeah, it says here how he really used his political stance because he was the only senator, right? Bella Bliss and Mon Mothma, they weren't senators.
I don't think they were.
I don't think they were either. But yeah, it says how Organa used his political position to aid the resistance groups and to use the information that he received, in the Senate because he was so close. He leaked it to planetary rulers and dissidents and fighters and all this freedom fighters and all this stuff to kind of use it against the Emperor. And it's also says apparently Mon Mothma and Bella Bliss were like often clashed and argued about strategy and policy, and it was always Organa that kept the alliance from splitting apart. So although it didn't seem like it seems like he did a lot of the work starting off, and I guess after he died, Mon Mothma kind of took over. But it was always Organa was the biggest forerunner or the biggest proponent of this alliance starting off here.
Yeah, actually, it does seem like they were both of them. Garm and Mon were senators.
They were,
but I don't know about Garm, which we'll get into. We'll be doing Garm next week.
Yeah,
and Mon Mothma the next following week. But at some point, I know for a fact, I think Mon had to start going into hiding because I think she was starting to get targeted.
Yeah, I think they both were.
So at some point they left the Senate. I don't know at what point, but you remember when episode 3, those deleted scenes when they were meeting, like they were all senators at that point.
Okay.
So
yeah, I know Bella Bliss went into hiding because from the books I know.
Correct, and in The Force Unleashed, I think it talks about that.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That talks about them pulling out of hiding, but even in episode 6, still, in 4, 5, and 6, like Mon Mothma's still like hidden. You only see her in episode 6, that one time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Bail. The biggest thing too, I wanted to, because a lot of stuff happens. The Force Unleashed, the game was really, I mean, people that really want to know exactly how it formed, you just play that game. It's pretty. Or honestly, just go to YouTube and you can watch the cutscenes.
Yeah,
like they have the entire cutscenes. What's called the Force Unleashed movie. I think it's like an hour and a half long.
Really?
Yeah, you can watch the entire cutscene. I mean, there's sometimes they show them fighting because there's significant dialogue during the battles. But the majority of it is about Bail Organa because when Galen Merrick first starts and first recruits or go finds Coda, right? And then actually when he finds out he's betrayed by Vader first, and then he decides to help the rebellion.
Yeah.
General Coda says, you need to go and find Bail Organa because at that point, Bail Organa goes to Felucia to seek out Shakti,
right?
Not knowing that she had already been killed by Starkiller. to help, and he was going to go ask Shakti to help him rescue Princess Leia, who was captured on, I think it was on Kashyyyk, right?
Yeah, I think that's right.
So,
yeah.
So he goes and so Galen, goes to Felucia and realizes that Bail's captured by Shakti's apprentice, defeats her, but lets her go, obviously, and then to gain favor from Bail Organa, he goes and rescues Princess Leia.
Yeah.
And obviously, and rescues some Wookiees too, I guess, that were being captive. I think you do that too while you're in the game a little bit.
While.
But so he is responsible for basically freeing Princess Leia, freeing Bail Organa, getting them together, and then getting that whole thing. I mean, so a lot of it's hindered on Starkiller's obviously decisions and stuff like that during the game, but that's a direct influence from Bail and Leia and getting them together, and Coda too. General Coda, like, he's become a major that Jedi. Even though we haven't mentioned him at all. That's actually a wonder why they never brought him in during the Clone Wars.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because he's such a vital point in the rebellion now. I bet you he might be brought up in Rebels. I would guarantee it. He's going to be in that show. I would really guarantee it. And Starkiller would possibly be too, depending on when that happens. You know what I mean?
I certainly hope so. Dang it.
But anyway, that's. But that game, I really suggest, if you want to really get in, if you're a really big Star Wars persons, if you're listening to this, you should be. But you should be able to go to, or go get the game, go rent the game, or like I said, go on YouTube and just watch the cutscenes, because there's so much there that's really cool, revealing about, and even the fact at the end, like what Kay said, that they use Starkiller's crest. Mm-hmm. That's where it comes from. I mean, it's amazing to me actually to think about it. Like, this whole time, we never got an explanation of where that crest came from.
Yeah.
Until then. And it's just pretty amazing. Mm-hmm. It's not like they changed continuity. Like, no one ever explained where they got this crest. And all of a sudden, there it is. It's pretty cool to get that known. So yeah, Bail Organa, yeah, big. I think we start off with like the most important role. Mm-hmm. With the three, and
at least at this point, yeah.
At this point, yeah. And then Mon Mothma ends up being the one that you'll see that runs it to the end. Obviously, you see in Return of the Jedi. So, and then we'll find out what happens to Garm, since he's not really mentioned in the movies. He's only mentioned in the game.
Yeah, he's big in the expanded universe.
In the expanded universe, right? Yeah, which we kind of hit on because when we talked about the planet Corellia he's from. So. We'll get into Garm next week. We'll get into Mon Mothma the week after, and then basically the entire Rebel Alliance from top to bottom of what the intricacies and everything about their plan. So Bail Organa. What else? Is there anything else?
That's it. I mean, there's some really interesting just trivia, like how the character was created. I mean, you can look that up on Wikipedia, but just about what his initial conceptions were what Lucas's conceptions were for the character at first. It's pretty interesting stuff.
Now he obviously he died on the explosion of Alderaan. Now, what was really cool, and I don't know if it's true, but one rumor I had heard and read back when they were shooting Episode 3, which I thought would be awesome. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you're talking about it. I mentioned this to you.
Yeah, you told me this.
But I had read that there was a rumor that they were going to film a scene on Alderaan with Jimmy Smits talking to a hologram emperor. Prior, basically to add into Episode 4. That would have been awesome. I got to say, that would have been awesome.
Do you know what they were talking about?
Basically, it was going to be the scene almost right before Tarkin comes in and says the Emperor has disbanded. It was almost going to be a very threatening message to Bail Organa from the Emperor. Like, Emperor was basically... See, because for one, they didn't want to... The way it sounded, it was like... It wasn't going to be the same wording because it would be useless, right? To say the same thing about the... So he wasn't going to exactly say that the Senate was disbanding, but he was basically telling Bail, like, things are going to develop. You're going to be exposed. Mm-hmm. I'm just warning you. You better, just basically he's warning Bail Organa, and so they have a confrontation, and that's what kind of almost puts the pressure. That's what it makes you put know that there's pressure out there to get Obi-Wan to alter. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, if you didn't know it was going to be destroyed, it would have been more pressure, right? Mm-hmm. Added to getting Obi-Wan there, which would have been cool, or getting the plans, So, and then I think the next scene was supposed to be Tarkin walking in and saying, the Senate has been disbanded, and the regional governors are now in control of their territory. So, I thought that would have been pretty cool.
I'm wondering though, because if they didn't do that, I don't know, because the Force Unleashed game, it's revealed to the Emperor that Bail Organa is part of the Rebel Alliance. So I wonder if
that's true. That is very true. So he knew it then.
So he knew about Garam, Beliblis, and Mon Mothma. Weren't they all there, or was it just Organa?
No, they were all there.
Yeah, Leia wasn't there.
He didn't know about Leia.
Yeah,
that was the only thing.
Yeah, but I think all three of them were there. I think, and because that's why Starkiller, he was like fighting the Darth Vader, and he fought the Emperor.
Yeah,
and he like sacrificed himself so they all can leave. And Coda was there.
Yes.
I don't know if it was just Coda and Organa. I have to play it again, but
no, they were all of them were there.
So that was 2 years before.
Yeah. So why didn't he just like go after and kill them all?
Yeah.
That's actually a pretty good question. Because I remember I watched like those cutscenes, I think too, and they were there, and you remember if you see that Leia's not, she's there, but she's not there. She's there as a hologram, basically. So
right.
So that's why the Emperor doesn't find out about Leia. But maybe they're somehow in hiding. They go in hiding somehow.
That's what I was thinking.
But that's true. Then that scene wouldn't work. Unless it is, the fact that a guy like Bail, maybe that's when Mon Mothma went into hiding. Maybe that's what I think. But Bail, maybe he was, like you said, maybe he was so highly regarded in the Imperial Senate that maybe the Emperor couldn't do anything to him without feeling the repercussions. You know what I mean?
Probably. Because
that's what's a weird thing that we maybe get into if we ever do Palpatine. Was it's funny to see that when he becomes Emperor in Episode 3, when you become Emperor, it took 19 years for him to finally say, you know what, no more Senate.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking that's because he was waiting for the Death Star to be completed, or at least operational.
That's possible, but what I'm saying is that if they're declaring him Emperor,
why does he even need a Senate?
Yeah, why is there a Senate? And so that's what I'm saying. So in order to kind of keep the peace, it seemed like the Emperor Palpatine thought, well, I'll let these people just bicker and fight over stuff, and then I'll just sit back and still keep rolling. So basically, when he became Emperor, he just it seemed like they decided, okay, we're not going to have any more elections.
Yeah,
you're just going to be the president all the time. But he left people kind of talk. The Senate still kind of talk. And that's when you remember. That's why that's why he disbanded. Basically, in the end, was because wasn't that guy that one of those officers in that meeting on the Death Star when he says, the Rebel Alliance will still gain support of the Imperial Senate. If they keep doing. And that's when Tarkin comes in. The Imperial Senate is no longer a concern. He just so apparently eventually the alliance started creeping into the Senate, and everybody. That's when he started. So at some point, it took. I'm just saying it took a while for that to happen.
Yeah.
So we're kind of getting off of Bail and getting into the Emperor. But this is all because of Bail, because that's his influence. Really, that's really how that all happened. But like you said, if he knew about him in 2 BBY, it's amazing how he survived.
Yeah.
For 2 years. It'd be interesting to find out if he wasn't on Alderaan. I mean, there's no body, obviously. Anyway, but as of right now,
He did.
He died on Alderaan. But I'm sure that a lot more will come up about him, especially with these new shows coming out.
I'm hoping. I just wonder if the Emperor will be a big part in the Rebels series, or if they're gonna.
I think Vader is going to be a huge part.
That would be so cool.
Yeah, Vader's got to be a huge part, I think, because he's it through the whole 19 years, man.
Unless they use Merrick.
Yeah,
that'd be really cool.
But you got to think that he's only 5.
That's true. Well, I don't know when they're going to take place.
Yeah,
series.
exactly.
Oh,
it depends if it's later or mid, because you got to think Boba Fett is probably going to be a part of it. So I would think he's going to be older.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be probably. It's
got
to be
how much?
Least,
because if they do the Boba Fett movie, how much are they going to show him?
Right. Well, I think they'll intertwine maybe with that.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're getting into some speculation, but not much news this week, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, literally the I guess the biggest thing that I read this past week was the Knights of the Old Republic video game that came out. Like quite a few years.
10
ago.
years. No, this is 10-year anniversary. That's why.
Dang, okay, so 10 years ago, is now released or going to be released to the iPad. You're going to be able to play this game on the iPad, which is strange. I mean, I guess because there's plenty of games on the iPad you can play, but it's strange why they would do this game or not just like a new game or whatever. But I mean, it's pretty cool, I guess. I mean, but that's basically it. It's Knights of the Republic, not just the first one too, not the second one, which I think is I guess it's a better game. But coming to the iPad, I feel like they should just go ahead and do a third one. I don't really care for the Old Republic MMO game that they came out with.
Yeah,
I thought about maybe playing it, but I don't think I'll get into it. But yeah, so KOTOR on the iPad, go play it.
Yes,
it'll be on July. So yeah, it came out in 2003. Man,
yeah, it's 10-year anniversary. That's what they're
12
saying.
years old.
So little. Yeah. I actually never played Knights of the Old Republic.
It's an awesome game. Well, you're not a big RPG guy.
Yeah,
right?
it's like a role. It's like one of those Final Fantasy kind of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not really big on that.
It was so cool because you light side or dark side. So
yeah. But is that the one that has
Revan.
Darth Revan?
Revan
okay.
Malak.
Yeah. Sweet.
I got so sucked into that game. I thought I was literally going to go crazy because I played it non-stop.
What console did you play it on?
Xbox.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I was thinking there was a family reunion going on. I was like, I feel like skipping this reunion so I can play this game. No, I actually skipped academic team tryouts, and that canceled my academic team future then on out. So,
Knights of the Old Republic did that.
That's what
Sweet.
So I became a gamer, not an academic.
And look what you are now. Yeah. Now you got your own Star Wars podcast.
Take that.
All right.
School.
What we are going to get into, though, I wanted to hit this topic on because eventually I wanted to do this doing a Star Wars podcast. For everybody out there that just is just neck deep in Star Wars and Star Wars news and on the web, you've probably come across what's known as Star Wars Revisited. Now, if you haven't, you can go to swrevisited.wordpress.com, and that is the website for a man named Adiwan is what I'm
guessing it's like a internet name or
his name is Adiwan
or something.
I mean, short for Addy, they call long for Addy, they call him Addy on all these forums and everything on his site. But anyway, this guy, I'm assuming it's a guy, but he has been basically. If you read the quote on the top of the site, it says what the special editions should have been. So what he is doing is he's taking episodes 4, 5, and 6, the original trilogy. He's taking what was at the time the only version he had was the latest DVD versions of them back in 2004, with that came out basically adding new, special effects, a new color correction, all this stuff that actually caused some more problems to the films.
Yeah.
It actually made them look a little different, not necessarily better, but different. So he's going back and redoing a bunch of stuff. And I'm not just saying he's going back and just like color correcting and
He's
adding a blast or two. He is going through every frame and changing or replacing or adding or fixing. I mean, he's just doing everything to make them as perfect as they can be. And almost what you would do when you're making the movies, you know, like if you look at, I mean, no matter how much you want to say there's problems with the story of 1, 2, and 3, digitally and visually, there's really no problems with it. You can't say that there's too many continuity issues. I mean, I know you can watch behind the scenes footage that say that they digitally fix continuity errors.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There was one where I think when they're propelling on the outside of the castle, the palace,
the first one
in episode 1, the one broke.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't, so they sped him up digitally.
Yeah.
Did you hear about that?
I didn't hear about that, no, but I know that they did stuff like that.
If you watch one where there's one that falls behind because his gun, his tractor is too slow. So in post they sped him up. So they were able to do that then, right? Well, in the old trilogy, they couldn't, obviously, and there was all kinds of continuity issues. Well, he is trying to fix a bunch of that stuff. So you can go to the site and kind of see his list. Now, A New Hope is done. He is nearly done with Empire, and then he's going to be starting on Return of the Jedi here soon. Now, because he was working with the DVD footage, A New Hope is only revisited and redone on DVD.
Right.
But he is going back apparently and redoing them in HD. Empire is being done at 720. So I don't know how much he's incorporating from the Blu-rays, but right now he's just been solely working from the DVDs, 2004. And you saw some of the screenshots.
Yeah, goodness.
Episode 4. It's pretty amazing, isn't it?
There's one thing I'm like glad he did at the end of episode 4 during the ceremony. He gave Chewbacca a medal.
Totally. Stuff like that.
Finally.
I know, right?
Chewbacca gets a medal. That's so
Stuff like
crazy.
that.
But there's things he took out, like in the Mos Eisley scene.
Which I'm not cool with, but
yeah, I know because like when the special editions came out, they added a bunch of stuff like characters and digital things, and I know I've heard guys, particularly from your generation who grew up with the originals, saying how they hated how much he added to the Mos Eisley scene because they liked how desolate it always looked.
right.
So I guess this guy might be just one of those purists that hated what he added, so he just took some of it out.
Yeah. But the things he did fix, I thought were stuff that I'm, and basically what I wanted to talk about was our opinions on, because I was thinking about this when I was watching, they had Empire and they had Return on Spike the other night, and I still watch it sometimes thinking like, God, why didn't they change that? Why didn't they do that?
Exactly.
And this is what this guy's doing.
Yeah.
Episode 4, for one, every lightsaber, there's no excuse. All that lightsaber stuff should be fixed.
Yeah.
That's like the easiest thing you can do. When they color corrected it, like Vader's all of a sudden turned pink.
Yeah.
There was no like white center to it. That's an easy fix. Just replace it. You know what I mean? Luke on the Falcon.
Yeah, his lightsaber.
Yeah, his lightsaber's like white at one point, and then when he's in Ben's place, Obi-Wan's place, it just kind of snaps on.
Yeah.
It doesn't actually, ignite.
So I wonder if this guy's going to change those kind of like those like cuts. When he turns it on, you could tell they kind of like stop
that's
and start.
gone.
So he fixed that, and like also like in episode 4 on Tantive 4, R2 is like in that corridor, and right after Leia has left, like putting the plans at R2, she leaves, and C-3PO comes in. Then R2 puts out his third leg so he can kind of walk. But like there's like a jolt like in the footage, like when he kind of cuts because like the leg kind of just pops out. There's
right. Well, I'm sure
stops. I wonder if they fix that, because
I think he did.
Little things like that I think would be really cool. I mean, there's there's things where he flipped shots.
Yes,
like that's just crazy.
He added like a lot of stuff where the Death Star was. Like he added a lot more ships around the Death Star. He added he even added a planet that it's revolving around. So there's so much that he adds that I mean, I guess I don't know if Lucas ever thought about doing all that, or if he wanted to do it and just felt like there wasn't enough time. I don't know, but if a guy, but my thing is that if a guy sitting in his house could do all this, and I mean, it should have been easy for Lucasfilm or ILM to do all this. I mean, I just don't know if Lucas really. It seems like he was invested in changing them, but he just never. Just seemed like for being as particular he was, it just seems like he would have went frame by frame, scene by scene when he wanted to do that. You know what I mean?
It's just this one guy doing it, right? Does he have a team of people?
No,
doing
it's just him.
That's crazy.
It's just him. I don't know what he has now, but when he first started, it was just him. Now he's getting donations. You can donate to help him.
Yeah.
Do this because now you can see with Empire, what's crazy is that he's filming stuff and adding it in.
I want to see some of that. I haven't seen anything like that
he's
yet.
filming, like AT-ATs and adding AT-ATs during the Battle of Hoth. Yeah, I mean, there's so many more of that stuff. You can, like I said, you can go to that website. You can see all the changes. You can find links to download A New Hope. And you can download the ISO file, which is a file that you simply it's an image file, which means that if you have a DVD burning software, all you got to do is load that image file, and it'll burn a DVD for you, and you can watch A New Hope revisited, the way the special edition should have been. I guess is what they. Yeah. I'm going to try to get it, and I can. And when I get it, we can watch it. We can kind of report back to you guys about it, because I really want to see it. I really, there's just a lot of stuff that got changed. Now, like you, I don't agree with. I mean, I wouldn't have taken out the special edition digital stuff that went in Most Wisely. But then again, I think one of the best things, which I think we should have definitely seen in 19. I mean, we should have saw this in 97 when these movies came back out.
Yeah.
In the cantina, like those creatures should have facial movements. And he added that kind of stuff. No. The blinking, just and subtle stuff. It's not like the full digital effects. They're just,
a mouth twitch,
twitching.
Like eye twitch,
when they're talking, it's moving and the eyes are twitching. And when there's a reaction when Han shoots Greedo, there's like surprise, the eyes get wider. I mean, it's just little stuff like that. Even Greedo sitting there is like blinking finally. Yeah, it's like
they made the Ewoks blink. Like,
I know, right?
And they also did the Death Star plans, because we've always talked about that.
Yes.
How we hated that, but this guy's fixing it.
It looks like Asteroid.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right now. So this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna have you're gonna have this guy coming down here and blow up the Death Star. Boom.
Yeah. But now see, when you fly off screen on the left, you come in on the right.
And your square bomb here, this little white pixel is gonna fall down into this box.
Yeah.
And blow up.
I mean, that is like, redo that, man.
Yeah.
There's no way you cannot just cover that up.
Yeah, because episode 2 we saw the Death Star plans was very 3D, very cool looking, and so that what this guy's doing is he's making it more conform to that type of special effects, and it's perfect. And
even by the time you got to episode 6, anyway, there's a 3D model then.
Yeah.
It's like, what? They didn't have 3D models just 2 years ago. 4 years before that. Come on, go back and put that in. Come on, man. So there is a lot. Now, I do want to maybe this is like a topic we should focus on, just our special editions. I think that would actually be a good topic.
We'll have our come on segment. We'll
say,
come on, man.
Come on, man. Change this. Because, I know there might be some people listening to us, really, that, be like, because there are purists out there.
Yeah.
There are people that think, look, the special editions are crap anyway. They should never touched. I mean, look, I respect you if you want to believe that, but I like to be known as a perfectionist, like especially with our projects that we do. Now, we do a lot of film projects and stuff, and I've always been on the other thing where, I go frame by frame.
Yeah.
I go frame by frame, scene by scene to make sure it is the best it can be before I release the stuff. And if Star Wars was my thing, yes, I would be doing what this guy's doing.
Yeah.
I would be going through And now this guy's doing it. It's not even his thing. But, you know, if I had the time and the effort, I would be doing what he's doing. I'm just glad someone is, because I just think that, you know, if you can improve something, and it's not anything, it's not like you're, you know, it's not like you're remaking the entire movie, you know what I mean? And like reshooting scenes or changing the story or what, like, you know, that people do when movies get remade. I mean, this is just basically visually correcting some of the errors and then just getting up to date with the actual timeline of the movies. You know what I mean? Like, if the technology is present in the prequels, you know, it's got to be present in the originals. So I think by doing that, you know, I don't think there's any problem with the improving of it there, you know, so.
Yeah, I've always been using my support for the special editions and for adding stuff is I'm always afraid if they didn't do that, then it would remain to be what it is with the original editions, and with the crappy, you know, special effects, or at least episode 4, like the bad fight scenes and all that stuff, because, you know, the first Star Trek, you know, kind of has that. So and it's almost like a laughing stock sometimes. Even the TV show is sometimes a laughing stock because the special effects are so bad. You know, you see the zipper and the monster or whatever like that, and so I don't want Star Wars to become that.
Right.
So, and I think it needs to be fixed and whatever it does, so it's
timeless.
Yeah. So it's literally timeless. So the kids of today won't be like, "Oh, look at this old piece of crap."
That's right.
And some of them are doing that.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
You're right. That's right. Because if they see episode 1, 2, and 3,
yeah,
they're like, "Oh man, this is great," and then they pop in 4, and it's like, "Wait a minute, why is that just like floating around and not flying around?" You know,
looks 2D. It doesn't look like a 3D kind of TIE fighter. It looks like it's just gliding across the screen or whatever. Right. You know.
Yes. So, yeah, I agree. That's a good explanation, because I think that's, if you want to keep it, you want to keep the kids of this generation into it, I think you do have to update it.
Make the Dewback move in the background, because it looks like just a big old plastic statue.
Make the person with the mask blink his eyes. You know?
Yeah,
because there's no way right now you would do that.
Yeah,
right. There's no way you would make a mask right now with a blink in this day and age. You just don't have that anymore. If a guy is an alien, he's CG'd. There's no two buts about it, right?
Yeah.
There's no mask anymore, really. It's masked with a computer. So do those little things. And he's showing you right now that you can.
Yeah.
What this guy's doing, you can do it with a home computer and After Effects. I mean, he is doing it. So it shouldn't be that much of an effort for ILM to do it. Now, I understand the whole money thing and everything like that, but at the time, George owned it. It's his money.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know. And when he's worth $6 billion, I think, I don't know. Anyway, I just, I'm for, you know, both of us are. We're both for improving the effects and make, because I enjoy seeing new effects on it. I mean, it doesn't change the way I feel about the story or whatnot and everything.
Yeah, I mean, changing the whatever Create Dragon call that Obi-Wan Kenobi does in episode 4, changing that every single time a new edition comes out. That's a kind of annoying, but you know, whatever. I'll look past it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think one other one was Luke when he falls in Empire. Remember, like he gets his hand cut off and he falls.
Uh-huh.
I think in the original, he doesn't say anything. He's not screaming
as he's falling.
But then in 1997, the special editions, he is screaming.
97, or I can't remember. I remember that change. I don't know if it was it 97?
I think in 97, and then it stayed on the DVDs, but then in the Blu-rays, he removed it.
That's right, because I was thinking
there's no sound. So stuff like that, I agree. That's okay. So one way or the other. Come on, man. But you know, that's part of that. That's part of the sound and the story a little bit. That really doesn't really. But the visual effects is the big thing. I mean, that's the thing where it needs to be consistent, but. All right. Anyway, we'll talk more about that. I think that's something that we want to keep hitting on, and eventually, like I said, we'll get into the special editions in the movies and whatnot. Part of our ongoing podcasting here on Inside the Force.
Yeah.
So like I said, next week, part of Rebel Alliance month, we will be hitting on Garm Bail Bliss, who is a senator or former senator of Corellia. He was one of the three involved in the Corellian Treaty to form the Rebel Alliance. So we will hit on him next week. And then Mon Mothma after that, and then the Rebel Alliance to end the month. So we'll finish up with some trivia, right? Mm-hmm. Trivia. This being episode 11, we are tied 6 right, 4 wrong. We're both 6 and 4. And this question is going to be coming from, this is 2077, which may be falling into, it will fall into, I think, the Empire. Looks like it'll be The Empire Strikes Back. 2077. Got to get to it. So we've been doing this trivia for a little while now. Obviously, 10 questions to try to determine the master and the apprentice. But we're pretty even. We're dead even right now. So this is the Empire Strikes Back era, which I don't know if we've had a question in this era yet.
I don't think so.
2077. Are you ready?
Do it. Do it.
Here we go. This is interesting. Where were the Hoth sequences filmed for The Empire Strikes Back?
Okay.
So this is not a direct story or character. This is actually a production question. Where were the Hoth sequences filmed? A, Norway. B, Denmark. C, Iceland. Or D, Greenland?
See, you're probably going to get this one right. You probably actually know this for a fact. I'm going to be
A,
guessing.
Norway.
Yeah.
B, Denmark. C, Iceland. D, Greenland.
I'm going to go with D, Greenland.
Okay. Where were the Hoth sequences filmed? Well, you're actually right. I think I do know it. I think it is Greenland.
Okay.
But I'm not 100%. I'm about 90% sure, but I think but we're going to go D, Greenland. Oh man.
What is it?
Norway.
I always go through for. I was thinking Norway, but I was like, wait, that doesn't have a whole lot of snow, does it?
Really? I could have swore it was Greenland.
Dang it. I was thinking Norway.
Well,
I'm stupid.
Dang it, we're wrong again.
Dang it. I thought you were going to get that one.
I thought it was Greenland. I really did. For some reason, I thought they really shot in Greenland.
So they shot at Hoth scenes in Norway.
They shot in Norway. Wow. All right. Well, I hope you're doing better at home than we are. Because we're 6 and 5, each of us. Yeah. That's trivia.
Yeah. That's different questions. Cool. I like.
Definitely different.
Yeah.
That's a very challenging book if you don't know it. All right, so that's our show for this week. Episode 11, Bail Organa's profile. We hit on the revisited stuff, which we'll continue that, I'm sure, in the future because there's a lot going on with that. That's an ongoing thing. Again, next week. What's it? Garm, Bail Bliss.
Yeah.
And then more for the Rebel Alliance. And then hopefully we'll get some more news. We got to get this news thing going. Not so much news coming out the last couple of weeks, but anyway, thanks for listening to us. InsideTheForce.com. You can listen to all the podcasts right there at Inside the Force on our Twitter. Casey Cooley over here is Kryptonian1138 on Twitter. I'm D Cottingham21. Follow both of us. Our Twitter handles are right there on the website too. Part of the 21 Network. Now, across the Part 21 Network right now this month is actually Super Month. They're talking about Superman.
Yeah.
With the big Man of Steel movie coming out, Star Wars or Superman convention happening, Superman Celebration happening in Metropolis, Illinois this weekend, actually. So if you were big Superman fans or if you're interested in just any kind of comic book Superman-ish, check out the podcasts that are handling that, which is KooCast, 21 Podcasts, and In the Comics. They are doing nothing but Superman all month. But since we're not Superman related on this.
Yeah, different galaxy.
Yep. We're talking about Star Wars, and we're doing Rebel Alliance month in June. So check those out. Check us out. And we'll continue on that all month long. So for Casey Cooley.
Well, since there's no good Bail Organa quote, I'm just going to go with the classic, "You rebel scum." I'll just do that. It'll be Rebel.
Yeah, Rebel scum. He is Rebel related. Correct.
Yeah. So there you go.
Always good quotes. I'm David Cunningham. Thanks for listening to Inside the Force. Check us out next week, and may the Force be with you.
This has been a production of the 21 Network, a collection of weekly podcasts. For more great podcasts, visit 21network.com. To view additional content, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/21network. Follow us on Twitter at 21network for the latest news and updates. The 21 Network, for the fan and all of us.